So it's been a while since I last posted a picture. Aren't those hollyhocks beautiful? I'm so glad I knew what they were and I didn't tear them out. They just make me happy. Some plants make me happy. So anyway, here's the flower garden. Those are some sort of weed. They're growing alongside. I thought they were cleomes, I think is how you pronounce it. So I'm in the process of tearing them all out. And then I've got some echinacea that I found that I'm going to put in there. But anyway, that's not what I came here. So I came in here to show you what I have been doing. This used to be just dirt. The guy who lived here before had, excuse my, stuff that's in here. It's messy. That's what happens when you work, almost full time outside of farming. It's just not neat. So as you can see, I made these beds. There's some carpeting because it's blowing, really windy here. I had to find something that would kill everything off that was heavy. So I used the carpeting, but got the cattle panel. Carpeting behind that I will pull up and then put the cardboard. There's a strawberry. And then the mulch on top. This is all new. None of this was here. This was just a patch of clay and sand and not much. And I got asparagus bed. It's going quite well. I did overplant a little bit because with my past experience with it, it didn't do well. I started here. I've got a bunch of stuff killed it all off. But, see, these are going to seed. You want them to go to seed because the seeds will go in there and help you grow more. But it looks like it's doing quite well. Really well. I got some rosemary, basil, and my little Gone Wild tomatoes. Those are all Sun Gold, my favorite cherry tomato. That is my winter squash. There's peppers in here. As you can see, the dirt's not as good over here as it was in here because I scraped up the top part and I pushed it back and went and got manure from the barn over there. So, but I'll show you. Got some tomatillas. These are paste tomatoes. Some cucumbers. I think those are the pickling cucumbers. And then had the neighbor come and tear this up. It's very cloddy. I've had to fertilize with an organic fertilizer. I don't remember the name of it now. I got some tomatoes over there. We've got beans. These I do believe are rattlesnake beans. Got peas in there. More beans. Those are pickling cucumbers too. More tomatoes. Black radish. I love black radish. You don't eat the radish, you let it go to seed and you eat the seed pods. Basil looks amazing. I got eggplant. Soybeans did not do very well. I think I've got like 6 plants maybe. As you can see here, here's the lettuce, beans. I'm not exactly sure what that is. It all got jumbled up. My dad was helping me and we were trying to hurry because it was getting ready to rain and we had to get everything in because, I'm in zone 4. I have a very short growing season up here in contrast to the almost 6 that I was in back in Washington. Excuse me, I'm having my tea for the night. But as you can see, I've got some sunflowers. I kind of mixed everything in. Chamomile's doing gangbusters. There's borage down there, spinach, beets, radish, sunflowers, cilantro. I love cilantro. Zinnias, lots of zinnias, a whole row of zinnias. I love cut zinnias on the table. And then we've got over here, you can see the cabbage. I've got some onions that are very sad. I went to the Amish and I've been planting in succession. I don't know what that is. I winter sowed it. I'll do a whole video on winter sowing. It's growing well, but I don't know what it is. Couldn't tell you. Potatoes. Look at those potatoes. Holy smokies. There's kale in there. There's another row of beans in there. I'm going to have to get in there and get that kohlrabi out. I had kohlrabi coleslaw. It's actually very good. It did secrete extra water into my sauce. Or is it, would you call it a sauce that you put in your coleslaw? I don't know. Dressing? Sauce? Kind of hard to decide which one it is. more onions. These ones are doing much better. These are the red onions. But look at this. This is what I wanted to show you. Ta-da! The beginning of my orchard. There are 2 Honeycrisp apple trees here. Honeycrisp does amazingly well here where I'm at. And I think I see bugs. Are those bugs? I think they are. I'm going to have to come out here and hand pick them and squish them. Then look at this. This one here, I didn't know if it was going to make it. It did not leaf out at all. I wasn't sure. We had to stake it because it didn't have a very good root structure. But once we staked it, it just popped them leaves out. So I'm hoping it makes it through this winter. That's not a lot of leaves to support it, but I'm doing everything I possibly can to help it along. Here's the other one. And these are either the pear or the plums. And then over here is either a pear or a plum. I got 2 pears, 2 plums, 3 apples, and 2 cherries. But I don't remember. I've got it written down inside. This one looks really happy. If you can see, it's got brand new branches coming off. They are kind of, as you can see, the wind, you can tell which way the wind blows, can't you? I don't stake my trees. I only do if they fall out. I let them lean. I don't care. So, and that one just popped its leaves. I may stake that a little bit. I mean, it looks like it needs it. So here's a cherry. And I've been watering and keeping an eye on them. It's getting to the point where the pests, if we're going to have a pest problem, it's starting to show. But here's the other one. So as you can see, I took this area and I turned it into my orchard / garden. God, it looks good from this way. I love that rose bush over there. Those tires I'm going to fill, and I will put something in there. The black will pull the heat. Sorry about that. Black will pull the heat to the soil, and then it'll look better. It'll heat it up. You'll be able to eat stuff in there longer. As long as I could figure out how to cover it, I could put a cover on it and it'll get full sun over there. So I might be able to extend my season by putting maybe some lettuce in there. Kale, something that likes cold weather. Well, it doesn't like it, but you know, we'll tolerate it. So anyway, I'm going to run a fence line from the corner of that building all the way across here. And that gate, that door right there, I'm going to be moving my ducks and my geese into the orchard once it gets established. Now, it's a lot of work, guys. And I'm not a lazy person, but I tell you what, it's a lot of work starting from scratch. But you know, every time I do something, like when I put these trees in, I had my nephew come over with his fiance, or I think they're engaged, I'm not sure. But they came out and helped me with my parents. And my dad's 82 and he's out here in the garden trying to weed whack and dig holes. So we have to make sure that he does not overdo it. But you know, when you do stuff like this, especially with your permaculture, this is definitely a permaculture right here. This isn't, you know, I'm quite pleased with the way the garden's going right now. It's better than I thought I was going to get, being the first year, first soil. I had to rototill it. It did slope down way beyond the garden over there. The neighbor across the street scraped all of it, because the guy who lived here, all he did was put cows in this little section right here in the wintertime, and he threw his hay bales out and left them. So this had like 2 to 4 inches of just compacted old hay and manure, and you couldn't get, you're never going to rototill through that. It's not composted. It's just a slimy dead mess, because it doesn't have a chance to get any anaerobic activity in it. So he scraped it off and he leveled it out over there, and that's where I put, because nothing was growing in it, he just turned it all over upside down. And that's where I put my zucchini and my watermelon and my cantaloupe and I think there's winter squash over there. My mom started seeds, and I love her, but nothing had a tag in it. So I kind of put like leaves with like leaves. I don't know. It'll just be a surprise. But when you're doing the permaculture stuff, when you put in the asparagus for chance or these trees, as long as they don't die, I don't have to replant this tree. I mean, it took me 2 days, 3 days to get all these trees in because it's clay and I had to haul in dirt. You had to dig the hole 3 times, 3 times the size and then deep. So where I did mine, and I don't know if I'm going to have to cut that sucker. But it's a lot of work, but you have to keep reminding yourself that some of this stuff like fencing, it's something you do today because it needs to be done, but you don't have to do it again tomorrow. Or like, I don't have to plant this tree again next spring unless it dies. I don't have to rototill around this area unless it dies and I have to pull it up. But let's see if this is a sucker. Okay. I'm going to assume most of you know what a sucker would be on a tree. So it does not appear to be a sucker. So if this were a grafted tree, I'll see if I can find one for you. See how this is just coming out of the stalk. It's not, my finger's out of there. There you go, see? There. I might have you zoomed in a little too much too. There we go. So, if it had a ball around the base, and I'm sure I've got one that is. Oh my goodness, don't fall down. A sucker would come up from, here's one. This one is grafted. Okay, so what they do normally is they graft whatever pear or plum this is. Don't I sound like I know everything? This was grafted onto a different rootstock. So this stalk right here, this ball right here was a totally different tree. And what they did was they spliced it and they grafted this on so it grows. So when you have anything that's been grafted, anything that grows from below this graft point, like down, if it came up from down here, would be considered a sucker. And what happens is, it's kind of like an adopted limb. So the tree says, I don't want to be that kind of apple, I'm a blueberry. So it sends blueberry shoots out here, right? And if you let those grow, what happens is the roots send all the energy to the base, your what's it called? Your rootstock. So whatever your rootstock is, instead of sending it to this tree, the one that you bought it for. So I bought this pear tree for this pear, not this rootstock. This rootstock might be a non-producing tree. This rootstock could be something that doesn't even flower. So a lot of times what happens is people get them and they don't realize it's a rootstock. And when these new ones shoot up, they think, oh my gosh, look how good it's growing. And they don't clip them. And when they don't clip them, all the energy from the roots goes to this. And it ends up killing the tree that they've got. So like I've got at least 2 apple trees, I think I cut one down already, that were grafted apple trees. And what happened was they let the suckers grow. And they let this die. So now these suckers are on a non-flowering, it looks like an apple tree, but it doesn't have any pretty flowers. It doesn't smell good in the spring, and it doesn't have any apples. And I am a very strict gardener when it comes to, if it's not pretty and I don't like the way it looks, and it doesn't feed me, I'm not spending my resources on keeping it alive. It's just going to have to die. Because I have plenty of things I'd like to grow that need the space and need all of my energy. Unlike, something that's a non-flowering, non-producing apple tree. It doesn't even make sense to have that. It doesn't do anything at all. That robin's just cussing me out. So, I was so excited to show you this. I have been busy. Seriously, I have. That's why I haven't been putting videos out, is because I really have been super duper busy. We had the neighbor, we made a deal about hay and fields So, well, there's that robin. See, he's just cussing us out. Must be babies somewhere. Yes, I know. There were blue eggshells they must have hatched like 8 of them, or there were 2 nests. But the front yard was just covered in eggshells where they grab them after the babies hatch and drop them off someplace else. I bet their nests are in that barn because there's nobody in there. But anyway, that over there, I planted a bunch of trees. I don't know if they're going to make it. We've just had the weirdest summer ever. Last winter was super mild. We only had 91 inches of snow, which, if you talk to anybody who lives in the UP or has ever lived in the UP, that's not a lot of snow. But, and then it's been dry, super dry. Can anybody guess what this is? Echinacea. I planted echinacea around this tree. And then there's one on that tree. I think I had 3 on each tree, and I think 2 of them died on that other tree. But there's something I'm looking into. It has to do with the way you plant around a tree. Because now everybody knows, well maybe not everybody knows. So when I planted these, there's cardboard over here. And so you mound up around, but you notice, see how this was a grafted one? You see that ball right there? I don't know if you can see it. So you want to keep that above the ground. And so I want the water to pool down here to go into the roots. But there's cardboard. So I dug the holes, planted the trees, put cardboard all around it, angled it up, and then put all the mulch around it. Well, as this gets bigger, the roots go almost can go double the circumference of the canopy. So if you look at that big willow there, so if I was just fertilizing around the base, even if I did 5 feet around the base, look at how much further out those branches go. So the branches, the circumference, that if you were going to keep that and fertilize it and tend it really well, let's say that was a diamond tree, and I wanted it to grow really, really well because I'd liked a bunch of diamonds. You would want to put all the way around the circumference of the canopy, and that's where you're going to want to do your watering. That's where you're going to want to do your fertilizing. That's where you're going to grow. And I'm not saying to throw a bunch of chemical fertilizer. There are plenty of organic compost. You can compost it. You can mound it. But just like this, don't mound around the base of the tree. Leave that area, at least as you can see, there's like 4 to 6 inches where it's level, and then it mounds up. And you want to mound that up so that you've got the water rolling, especially if you live someplace where there's not a lot of water. This is going to help you with the cardboard. You can actually see some of the cardboard there behind the echinacea. This is going to help you retain some of that moisture in your dirt, which is really important right now as they're shutting down the water in California. That's just something you do. But anyway, there is I forget what it was called. I have to do some research on it. That's my winter stuff. We spent most of this winter planning, ordering, trying to get a contractor to come out and fix the house. I've posted a couple videos about the house. It's just about almost all done, finally. It's only taken almost 9 months to get everything done. Just because nobody has the parts on order, nobody can come to the house. I was going to have a nice wooden porch extended off the front door, which we never use. Well, we never used the front door, and lumber was so expensive. I said, you know what? I don't need it. I do not need that right now. But there is it's like a habitat that you put under trees, and I'll have to pull up some of the information and go over it again this winter so that I can do that in the spring. I'm kind of pushing back certain things. I still need to wire the electric fencing for the horses. I've got almost all of it wired. I don't have it turned on yet because there's still some barbed wire out there. And what else do I have? I've got the dairy goats. So since the last time I posted, I have 2 does. I have a buck. Those 3 are all babies. They will not be bred at least until next summer. I have 2 wethers. The wethers are Nigerian dwarfs. The ones I'm going to be breeding and milking are Nubians because they have a really high cream rate and they're very sweet. They are a sweet goat. Let's see, what else have we got? We've got the 2 horses still. I've got the 2 cats, 3 dogs, the 3 guinea pigs, and I've got 9 guinea fowl. I don't know which ones are boys and which ones are girls. I have no idea. I had 10. Yeah, I had 10 and one of them died, which was the only white one I had, which was kind of sad. And then I've got 24 meat birds. I've got 24 standard Cochins that I'm going to use for eggs and meat. I wanted a purebred breed of chicken for my egg layers in case I need to sell them or something. I've got 6 turkeys we're going to harvest. I've got 6 Pekin ducks. I think I've only got 1 girl, so we'll keep the girl and 1 boy, and so we'll butcher the other 4. One of them has angel wing, and that I have to make sure I've marked that one so that I know he's one that needs to be butchered. And angel wing is just where the feathers stick out, and after they have their first real molt, it goes away, but it is a genetic, issue, and I just would rather not have the bad genes in my breeding pool. Because the whole goal is to be able to not have to buy chicks, not have to buy ducklings, not have to buy goslings. I have 3 geese. They were laying when we first moved them here, and the transition has not gone well. She's sitting on eggs, but she's been sitting on eggs, and so I'm getting to the point where in another week or so I'll kick her off, and we'll just have to hope that they live through the winter and that next year I can get goslings out of them when they're more comfortable in their surroundings. Let's see, what else do we have? Got the ducks, the turkeys, the geese, the chickens. That's it. That's just not a lot. Just a few. I'm not ready for cows yet. But we did hog brush probably, I don't know, 10 acres maybe. As you can see, there's a whole bunch back there that still needs to be done, but now they're haying, so it'll have to wait. With it being dry though, they should be able to get way back in there. But I didn't want to make this too long of a video. I did want to show you the orchard. I will take you over and show you. Look at that lettuce. Isn't that just amazing? Oh, yum. So I've been picking fresh greens for dinner every night. Tonight we had the basil. Look at how that is. Pesto time. It's time to make some pesto. This is miniature corn that you put in Asian food. And then there's some sorghum in here too. I think it's down there at the very end. It is the, they use it to make brooms. So this is my sweet corn. And as you can see, I also put climbing beans in with my sweet corn, because I want them to climb up the corn stalks. They're looking good. I mean, it's a week past. I'm really short, so I could almost say it's knee-high a week after 4th of July. So that is one of my mom's. That is one of my mother's. Planted it right there because I didn't know what it was. And this one, I don't know what it was. And she gave me a whole bunch. This one, I'm not sure what it is. That one almost looks like a zucchini of some kind. She said she gave me a melon, but I don't see a melon out here. So, I have a melon that's not doing well out here. Don't know if it got right there. See, that one's not doing well. This is a cantaloupe, which I don't know if it's going to taste like melon because it's too close. This watermelon looks very happy as it's spreading. This watermelon's starting to look very happy. These are zucchinis. I know for a fact I planted these 3 zucchinis. And then I have this variegated leaf plant. I think it's a squash of some kind. My mom said she sent me a round striped zucchini. And I'm wondering if this is it, because sometimes when you have like a variegated fruit, you have a variegated leaf. And that is one of the maple trees. One of my students, I drive school bus, one of those kids I was talking about all the maple trees, he went and grabbed me a couple off his property and gave me that one, and look how nice it looks. Nope. So, and there's, if you can see over there, you can see where all those little purple tags are. Those are all trees that I planted. I don't know if they're going to make it, but I've got a couple more inside that I could, I'm finding them in places where I can dig them up, where it's legal for me to dig them up, and bringing them. I've got some at my parents'. I've got some oak trees out front that I'm going to grab and put underneath, put out there too. Because what I'd like to have is, the wind blows really hard from that direction. So I'd like to have a windbreak that runs down all the way to that sign way back there, that corner sign, because that's the end of our property there. So it goes all the way down that way. And there were fence lines out there all over the place. Where that post is, that first post, just by the mowed section, that there was a fence line that went all the way out, and then there was like a pasture right here, which I don't know why you had another pasture. I mean, he had everything all chopped up into weird sections. See, you can see here, this is what all that was over there. It's just, look how thick that was. It's nothing but old hay with poop in it, mashed down by cows. So, just beware if you're buying. Oh my God, and the glass in here, look. Is that a piece right there? Yep. Put my tea down. See, you really don't want to be going barefoot here. Which really kind of upsets me, because that's my favorite thing. One of my favorite things is to run around barefoot. And I can't. And I hope I don't cut myself trying to drink my tea, hold my cup. With glass in my hand. I'm not that coordinated. I used to be. At least I think I used to be. Maybe I never was that coordinated. And like I said, I don't know what kind of tomatoes these are, because I bought them from the Amish. And I just started picking pretty plants. And I've got some hot peppers. I've got some green peppers. I harvested a green pepper today. Weeds. And that's the purslane seeds I bought. The neighbor has purslane. They said I could get as much as I want. And when I told them I was going to get it, their garden's full of it. They were like, "Are you kidding me? You're going to eat that?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's really good for you." But, alright, well, I will let you guys go. I'll show you more of the stuff we've done out back around the horses area and stuff. I'll talk to you later. Have a good night.